What an incredible game we saw in the first leg semi-final between Man City and Real Madrid. Miracle after miracle. The Spanish press see it a little differently to the English press, who said madness. City taking that slender lead into the second leg. Ian Darke, we know, was not on the call for this game, unfortunately, because we would have all loved to have heard that. And Ian, I know you were watching this game. I bet you wouldn't have minded calling it, would you?
No, it's a fantastic game, I think, for anybody. I mean, it's a beautiful game for the audience to watch. If you're neutral, I should think it was an absolute nerve shredder if you're a fan of Manchester City or Real Madrid. I thought it was interesting afterwards, really, the body language of the Manchester City players when they were being interviewed was like, well, we've won the game, but it was like they'd lost it, really, because they created so many chances. They were 3 times 2 goals ahead and really should have put it all to bed last night, but they kept on letting Real Madrid back in. Benzema, he's just amazing, isn't he? Nobody can touch him. And you have to fear, I think, for Manchester City now a bit in the second leg, because Vinicius, who's going to be at right back? Is Cancelo fit? Is he going to be back? Let's hope so, because Kyle Walker's out. They put Fernandinho against Vinicius, and that, I think, was a big reason that Real Madrid stayed alive in the tie.
Brilliant game, wasn't it, Stevie?
Aye. I had so many wow moments. I was sat in the house, and I think on 4 occasions I was shouting through to Ellen and going, by the way, they're 2-0 up. Oh no, it's 3-1, it's 3-2, it's 4-3. I mean, it was just unbelievable, and the pace of the game was incredible. Listen, I guess the easy thing is always to say, well, you know what, 4-3, the defending was poor, right? But you know what, there really was only Laporte for me stood out as having a shocker, because the speed of play and the speed of the passes and the vision to play the passes, it would take some great defenders to figure out how they could stop these passes and the movement and the finishes. I mean, it's very difficult to explain to somebody, because when you're sitting in the house watching the TV, or if you're at the game and you're sat in the stand and you can see the whole picture, then you can see some passes. When you're on the field, it's almost like you've got blinkers on. And the way that some of these guys were picking out passes, people like De Bruyne, for example, and Cruz, the way they were picking passes out when there seemed nothing on, even though you can see the field, and at the speed of play. So to be able to figure out, before you get it, where you're getting it, your first touch has got to be perfect, your pass has to be spot on, the pace of the ball has to be spot on, and then you've got to deliver. And the amount of times that happened in this game, at the pace it was going at, just tells you that you're dealing with 2 phenomenal sides.
So have people been too harsh on both sides' defences? Is that what you're saying?
So. I think so. You know, you hear us talking about players, you know, people like Arjen Robben, you be sitting there and going, well, you know he's going in his left-hand side, and you know he's going to stick it at the top corner, so why don't you stop him? I mean, that seems normal, but actually at the time, he's so good that you can't always stop it. And so, yes, you can criticise defenders, but sometimes the credit has to go with the attackers, because they have to get everything spot on. It's a lot easier to destroy than it is to create. So the fact that some of the creations we saw in this game leave the defenders out at fantastic play.
Well, Guardiola was not too critical either of what he saw, and not too upset if you actually see what he said after the game. It was, the result could be better. You have to perform really well in 2 games. We performed really well in the first one, and we have to do it in the second one. It is a good test to show our personality. We miss the chances, but we create them. We were there all the time. We were there. No complaints about the result, the performance, anything. Just looking at what Pep Guardiola said there, Ale, do you believe him?
No, I don't. I don't believe him. Now, this is what he has to say, because he knows his players are listening. And he knows he doesn't need unnecessary attention on his players and on his team. So then you say these things, and then you just sort of appease people and say, yeah, you know what? We're okay with how things went. We won the game. We focus on the next match. We'll get him on the second leg. This is all we have to worry about. But I know full well that as he went to sleep last night, he is thinking about the many moments in which he could have put Real Madrid away. the many chances in which Manchester City, whether by scoring or defending better, because, well, while I agree largely with what Stevie is saying, I also have to say some of the defending, was poor. Now, the attacking play, great. The defending, not so great. And what he saw from his team defensively at times are vulnerabilities that also Real Madrid were able to not only see, but exploit. And having that in Real Madrid's sort of memory bank as they go into the second leg, I think fills them with confidence. I can make the argument that if this game had finished 1-0 for Manchester City, where both teams had chances, but it's only one goal, 1-0, and you go to the second leg, you're feeling a lot better about yourself and your Manchester City than in the manner in which it happened yesterday, in that 4-3 feels like it should have been so much more, that the difference between the two performances was so much more. And it only highlights one thing that we knew coming into this series and that now we have confirmed, and that is Manchester City doesn't have a number 9. The only number 9 in this series is Karim Benzema. And when he's playing at the level that he is, and then you have the complementary part of Vinicius Jr. next to him, it makes Real Madrid so dangerous. So to go back to the initial point, I don't believe Pep Guardiola, because he knows that this could have been over, and now it certainly isn't over.
You were shaking your head at that 1-0 comment.
I absolutely am the opposite of Alejandro. We've just been sitting and listening to what supposedly Manchester City are thinking. How do you think Ancelotti's thinking on the way home? He's sitting thinking, by the way, we lost 4 goals tonight, but it could have been 14. And if we have to go at this mob, they're not going to miss as many chances again, which is the complete opposite of what we're talking about with City. You know, you can think it's negative that we've only won 4-3, but hold on a minute, you've just obliterated a side and somehow given them 3 goals. So are you really going to be scared to go to Real Madrid? Do you think they're really going to be scared? Because this game is going to be the same as the one we saw, going back and forward. Because Man City...
Isn't that what Real Madrid do, though? You can completely outplay them and then still feel, no, this isn't over yet.
Who won the game?
Man City. But now they've got to go to the Bernabeu.
Man City won the game. Hold on a second.
By 1 goal.
So they won the game.
Yeah, they won the game.
It's all about winning the game, right? So they can't go and win again. Absolutely. I'll tell you what, if somebody said to me now, I'm going to transport you back 35 years, which one of these teams do you want to play for in the second leg? I'll tell you who I'm playing for, Manchester City.
Ian Dark's been nodding his head, agreeing with Stevie throughout this, I think.
I think it's all up for grabs. I mean, the one thing I just add to the argument here is, you know how Paris Saint-Germain have this kind of psychological block and find a way to exit the Champions League. It's kind of true of Manchester City as well. If Pep's had any problems, it's been in the Champions League where he's maybe overthought games. Remember how they were drawn against Lyon? They should have sailed past Lyon. Pep worried too much about what Lyon had to offer, and they lost it. They went out in Lisbon a couple of years ago. You know, you can think about when they played Liverpool and they were tactically not right that night. This is a brilliant coach who somehow seems to just find a problem in the Champions League. So I don't know whether that's playing in the back of Manchester City minds. I agree with Stevie. I think, you know, if Real Madrid defend like they defended against Barcelona a few weeks ago, or the way they defended last night, Manchester City are going to have a stack of chances at the Bernabeu again. And even Ancelotti admitted it. If we defend like that again, if we give City that many chances, we're out.
Yeah, he absolutely did say that. So, Ali, where are we at? 60-40, 50-50? Who's got the advantage now in this second leg, given that Real Madrid are at home? You've had 24 hours to think about this. I know you were on yesterday. But City do have the goal advantage.
Right, well, okay. First and foremost, I was asked about Pep Guardiola. I was not asked about Carlo Ancelotti's mindset. So, if you had asked me about Ancelotti, I would have given you that perspective. But I was asked about Guardiola. Now, here's the other thing I would say. Stevie said if he went back 35 years in time, well, I would take the result if I were Real Madrid, because that means we have the away goal, and I would be sitting pretty if I were Real Madrid. I'll just put that out there. The other thing I'd
Well,
say about
you got to
Real
win the
Madrid
game first. Only if you win the game.
Well, yes, but okay, fine. But they would be feeling better about their situation. Would they not? Yes, they would. Okay. Anyways, all I'm saying is Real Madrid, if I'm Carlo Ancelotti, since Stevie wants that perspective, I'm sitting back and I'm thinking, we could not be nearly as bad as we were in that first leg. We can't possibly play as poorly as we did defensively and the possession of the ball through the midfield. And hopefully we get Casemiro back, which then frees Toni Kroos to do a different type of job in the midfield and allows our possession to be much better through the midfield. That's what Ancelotti is hoping for, and that's what he's thinking. Whether they are able to do it or not, well, that's a different question. So I'll go back to Kay's question, now that I've addressed all of Stevie's concerns. I think is 60-40 Manchester City. They display what was a beautiful show of how to play offensive passing in the attacking half. The rotations and the options for players ahead of the ball was fantastic for Manchester City. The final touch wasn't quite there, but they are a better team than Real Madrid. I'm going to say 60-40 Manchester City to advance, but do not, under any circumstance, please do not overlook Real Madrid and be surprised if they find a way back.
Go on.
Pile on Ancelotti again.
Go on then.
It's just something Ali said there. And he's probably right. Ancelotti's probably sat on the plane, or the boss or wherever it is, his cab, his taxi, whatever, thinking, we can't possibly defend as bad again, right? All he's got to do, though, was think, oh, hold on a minute. I said that after an hour against Paris Saint-Germain, and I said that after the game against Barcelona. So there's 3 occasions recently that have been a complete and utter disaster.
And yet...
So do you think that you can be as bad again and get away with it?
They can win the league title this weekend. They're still in with a shot of winning the Champions League title, so maybe he does think he can get away with it.
Unfortunately, they've got to play Man City again.
I do just want to get a quick comment from Ian on Karim Benzema. Ian, you've obviously commentated so many players over the years and had the pleasure of seeing so many, but talk to me a little bit about Karim Benzema.
I think he's amazing. I mean, he's getting on to, 34 now, over 40 goals this season. I think he's heading for the Ballon d'Or this year. I mean, that first goal that he scored yesterday, there was absolutely nothing on when that ball came to him, and he conjured up just a phenomenal finish, just instinctively knew where and how to hit it, the only place he could have put it, and he put the ball in the back of the net and gave Real Madrid that lifeline back into the game. And, look, the Panenka, who does that? He's missed a few lately. In a Champions League semi-final, nervously steps up to the ball against a goalkeeper like Edison and think, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll just do a little dink chip here. That'll work. And it did, of course. Everything he does, it turns to go. His movement's great. He puts away nearly every chance that comes his way. I mean, there's nothing bad to say about Benzema on the pitch. And in any team he's playing in, you've got a big chance of winning when you've got a striker whose ratio of chance taking is as high as him. Look what they looked like, Real Madrid, without him in the last Clasico we saw.
Thank you very much for watching ESPN FC on YouTube. For more highlights, analysis and exclusive content, be sure to subscribe.